Hello, my golf friends. How are you? Welcome back to Above Par. Thank you for listening, sharing with your friends, sending me the emails and the notes, letting me know how much this has been helping you. I certainly appreciate it. I love all my binge listeners out there. I know who you are for the most part. You send me the notes that you listen to 4 or 5 podcasts in a day. And listen, that's part of the beauty of why I keep these short. For one thing is I want to get to the point. I don't want a lot of fluff. I don't need to hear myself speak or talk. I just want to give you as much value and detail and help in a short amount of time so that you can consume it on the way to the golf course, or you can consume it in a short amount of time, or binge listen to a bunch of them if you get behind. So I do keep them short intentionally. When I have interviews, they get a little longer because I have someone to talk to, right? When it's just me talking to myself, staring at a screen, right? Wondering if there's anybody listening. It's, I think it's more challenging for me to go and produce an hour-long podcast just by myself. So with that in mind, I'm going to keep this short and to the point for you again today. At least that is my intention. And that's what I wanted to talk about was golf intentions. Now, I had a podcast on golf attention, and that was the one that I talked about rafting. I went whitewater rafting in West Virginia and talked about attention. Attention is where you're looking, where you're putting your mind down the fairway, not looking at the trouble, not looking at the bunkers or all the different places that we do not want to go, right? We set our attention on the danger for the most part, and looking where you want yourself to go, your ball to go, all those things is so important for your brain and where you focus, because our brain doesn't know really negative. It doesn't know don't go in the bunker. It just sees bunker because that's where we set our attention. What I want to talk about today is intention, which is a little bit different. That is setting more of a purpose and a direction for your brain relative to some results that you want to create. And I think it's really important and valuable. I encourage all my clients to set intentions when they go out and play. I think it's really great and valuable for you to set an intention for the day, because it does give your brain something to look for. And at the end of the day, just like at the end of the round, you can see how much of that you achieved and how much progress you made moving towards that goal or objective. So let me give you some examples of why you want to set an intention for the day. The first thing it does is it gives your brain, like I said, something to focus on. So it increases your awareness. It builds awareness. A lot of us go through life and through golf totally unaware of our thoughts or our emotions or the connection between the two of them. I certainly did for most of my golf career, if not all of my golf career. I was really aware of all the negative emotions, right? But I really wasn't aware of how they played out on the golf course and the connection between what I was thinking and how I was feeling, or that I even had any control over any of it. Your first step is always with awareness. Setting an intention builds awareness. You become more in tune with what you're doing on the golf course. A simple example of this is where you notice people who are very negative in your group. This happens with a lot of clients that I work with. They might be very negative, and when I start talking about the connection between negative thoughts and how you feel and how you perform, we kind of go on a little bit of a negativity diet. The next thing they do is they notice how negative everybody else is, right? How they've been playing with these super negative people their whole golf career. It just became their normal. When we shift away from it, we become very aware of that negativity. So creating an intention helps build awareness, which is what we want. We can't change things that we don't know exist. You don't know what you don't know. You got to shed some light on it, build some awareness, and then you get to decide if you like it or don't like it, if you want to keep it or not keep it. But if we don't know what's going on, just like all those people who are obliviously negative and don't know that it's affecting their golf game and how they get to feel throughout the round, then we're never going to change it. So your first step is awareness, and setting an intention builds awareness. An example of an awareness building intention would be, I want to pay attention to how I'm feeling before I hit a shot. Am I calm, certain, or confident? I might set the intention for the day to go out and keep track of as many times as I am in that state. How many shots did I hit from one of the 3 C's? That's setting an intention, building that awareness. You might build the awareness of, I want to just see how long I stay in a negative place after a bad shot. I just want to start paying attention to it. I want to start paying attention to the words that I say to myself over my putting or my chipping or a shot that gives you a little bit of trouble. That's setting an intention before you go out to play that's going to build awareness relative to what you're thinking or feeling on the golf course. You could also do it for an action. Actually, maybe you squeeze the club or your tempo gets really fast or your takeaway gets fast. And you might say, I want to pay attention to the shots or the different situations where I get a little quick. That's where I'm going to focus. That's where my intention is going to be today, building awareness. The second one is that we can build a habit. We can set the intention of creating a habit, something that we want to ingrain in our swing, something that we want to own. And I really don't want it to be a mechanical thing so much, though it can be. It needs to be just very simple because we don't really want to work on our mechanics on the golf course unless, as I say, you're bleeding on the operating table and you need to be sewn up, right? Then do what you have to do. But otherwise, most of the time our mechanical thoughts are going to get in our way. They're going to create more tension for us. We're going to be focusing inwardly on our mechanics, and usually we're not very smooth and relaxed when we're doing that. We have a lot of extra tension, and that doesn't necessarily serve our golf game. But we could create a habit like breathing. I want to remember to breathe before I putt. I need to exhale because that serves me, that brings me back to the front part of my brain, and I want to get in the habit of taking a nice deep breath or focusing on my breath before I putt. I might set an intention to really get in tune with my pre-shot routine. I notice that sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't, so I'm going to set an intention for the day that I'm going to focus on my pre-shot routine, make it as consistent as possible on every shot. You might build a habit, an intention of, I want to create this new habit of when I close my glove, that's when I go into my routine. It's going to be a trigger for me to help me focus and start my routine and go through my motions. So you can set an intention on building a habit. If it's with your swing, your intention might be on every swing, I'm just going to make sure that I don't twist the heck out of the club face going back. Or whip it inside. That's a swing thought, but it could be an intention for you as well. You got to keep those simple. So we can set intentions to build habits. And the third thing that's really valuable when you set an intention before you go out to play is to build a skill. Okay, and this is going to sound like after a shot, after a bad shot, I want to set the intention to give myself 60 seconds to be upset before I get back to being calm, certain, and confident. I'm going to set an intention when I go out to play of pivoting when I hear a negative thought. Every time I hear a negative thought, I'm going to pivot with a set of phrases or words that I like that I've already chosen. I'm going to notice the thoughts, I'm going to notice how they don't work, and I'm going to practice pivoting. I'm going to set an intention to have my own back every time I miss a shot or have a bad hole. That's what I'm going to do all day. Anytime that happens, that's my intention. I'm going to build that skill. And the fourth one is you can set an intention to create a belief, a new belief that you want to have, a new identity that you want to have about yourself. And what that would sound like is today I'm going to set the intention that I'm going to believe that it's possible I could put 2 good rounds together. Today I'm going to set an intention of creating the belief that I'm a player who doesn't have blow-up holes. I'm going to set the intention of believing I belong in this tournament. I'm going to believe it's possible I could win or finish in the top 5. That is also setting an intention. Shifting a belief that you currently don't have that you want to have is setting an intention. What do you want to believe? What do you want to think about that round, about you and your performance? And set that intention to repeat that like a boss for the day. So setting an intention is a beautiful way of giving your brain something to focus on, something to pay attention to, something to look for, because our brains want to be right. If we give it an intention, it will scan for all the evidence that you're doing it, or that you have it, or that you're building it. And at the end of the round, you want to look back and give your brain more proof on how that worked. Did you build the awareness? Did you build a habit? Did you build a skill? Or did you build a belief, a new belief that you want to have that is going to create better results for you? It doesn't need to be perfect, but it's so much more valuable for your brain and for your golf game than not having an intention. Because if you don't have an intention, your brain is going to go down a crappy path, right? Then you kind of let it wander all over the place. Kind of how I've talked about results. Our brain loves to go and focus on the score, right? Which is a great intention. Anytime that my brain goes and focuses on the score, I'm going to bring it back to the present moment. I'm going to pay attention to every time it goes over there, and I'm going to bring it back to the present moment. That's a beautiful intention too. Because if we don't have that intention, our brain will go and start looking at results. It will go to all the crappy places. Before every round, whether it's a tournament or just a fun round, set an intention. You're training your brain to look for evidence of things that you want to see, of results that you want to create. So valuable. All right, so let me know. Send me a note when you set an intention and you start seeing those results. Share with me your perspective on how that's influencing your results and how you show up on the golf course. 4 different reasons to set intentions. Pick one, anyone. It doesn't matter. Anything that you find that it's going to be useful for you. And if I can help you in any way, make sure you check out all the programs that I have at kathyhartwood.com. All right, my friends, have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.